Hi everyone, welcome to the first ever interview we make on Vinenon. I'm Sebastian. I'm here at one of the iconic places for wine lovers in Aarhus, Svinbar, or Svinbar, I don't know how to pronounce it. Today I will be interviewing the co-owner of this place, the sommelier and wine enthusiast Sabina Drachmann Sunne. Hi Sabina.
Hi.
Thanks for having us here and for accepting to answer some of our questions.
Absolutely.
So, let's start with a brief overview about your life with relation to wine and like what has been your professional pathway to arrive where you're here, and where does your passion for wine come from?
Well, I'm an educated waiter.
Yeah.
I started quite young to work in the restaurant business, I started as a waiter and worked my way up. I worked in different restaurants here in Aarhus. I worked in Austria. I worked in Skagen. Worked a lot of places and learned from a lot of different people. But the turning point with wine was actually when I started in Jægersgade, 65. It's a small place where there was this guy who owned it, who called Søren Andreasen. He was a sommelier. And I started there. That was my first job after I graduated my exam. And he was just like really passionate about wine. He was one of the first sommelier, ever young sommelier in Denmark. And he had this passion, and I didn't know anything. And he really drove me really hard in the restaurant business, so I had to learn a lot. And we were just tasting every day, learning every day. And then a few years later, or 4 years later, I started at Restaurant E. It's a really nice restaurant here in Aarhus. And we were only focused about French wine because it's a French restaurant. And they gave me the opportunity to go to the sommelier education. It was at Wien Akademiet, and it was here. There's one based here in Aarhus, and there's one in Copenhagen. I took the one in Copenhagen. And then I just started to work as a sommelier in the restaurant there, took up the wine list and being the restaurant manager as well. And just started from there. And it was just this crazy world of you can never stop learning. And every time you learn a little bit, you find out you don't know shit about anything.
I know about it. I always feel like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's very interesting. And so, what is the idea behind Svinbar, and why did you decide to open this place?
Well, I've been working in Restaurant A for 6 years, and I had this feeling I had to try something new. I wanted to explore all the other different wine countries, because we were only focused on French wine. And I said, okay, where did I want to work? And I had this like, I don't really want to work anywhere else than there, because I loved working there. And I said, okay, if you can't find anywhere you want to work, you have to do your own thing. And I really wanted to create a place where people can talk about wine, can be nerdy about wine, can focus on wine, but it doesn't have to be snobby.
Yeah.
And wine is like the most snobby thing ever.
Yeah.
And people are like always pointing fingers and always saying this is better than this, instead of just enjoying all the different kinds of style of wine we have in the world. So I really wanted to create a place that can make a forum where it's okay to talk about wine in a state where you are at. So if you're a beginner or if you're a top level sommelier, it doesn't matter, we can all speak together.
Okay.
And that's also why the name, Svinbar, because I wanted people to laugh when they come in.
Yeah.
They say, what is this place called? Come on. And then you already create an opening. So that was my thing about this place.
Yeah, because for the non-Danish speakers, Svin means like a pig, more or less, right?
Exactly.
So it's kind of a special name, let's say. But it's very interesting. It gives the idea of this place kind of down to earth, but with a lot of...
Exactly, and that's what we do with the interior as well. We really want to keep it low, because
But the quality of the wines you have is pretty high, I saw.
That's the only thing that you can do top level.
Yes, exactly. So very good. And do you remember the first time you tasted wine in your life?
Wow.
Or one of the first ones, let's say,
Well,
when you began tasting wine.
I can say I remember really clearly the first time I tried a wine where I thought, oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think we all, like in our young teenage years, tried wine just for drinking.
Yeah, of course.
And really don't like it. But I remember the first time where I really tasted a wine, my first love of wine, if I can say that. And that's just a really, really special moment. And the more you drink wine, the less that experience comes.
Yeah.
It's like that with everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a moment you have to cherish, really. The first time where you taste and think, okay, this is just like heaven, a piece of heaven in my mouth.
And you are finally illuminated by
Yeah,
the whole
exactly.
thing. Do you remember which one it was?
Well, it was actually Chateau Mimi. It's Saint-Estèphe Bordeaux wine. And it was a vintage of 99 before they were sold to Cartier.
Okay.
And it was when I was still a study. I didn't know anything about wine. I just thought, oh my god, can you taste wine like that? And at that point, it wasn't even really expensive. For me as a student, it was really crazy expensive. I think it was like 450 or 600 kroners at that point. Now it's much more expensive.
Yeah.
But and I just thought, oh my god, I didn't know wine could be like that. How do you make this stuff? And it's just like, then you get the knowledge to explore the whole world, how you make the wine, because that's really the important thing.
Yeah, of course. That's very interesting. So, our blog is a lot about the relation between wine and the Danish society, as I told you before. And so, how do you think the Danes relate with wine, and has it already become a part of the culture somehow?
Well, absolutely. There have been like 10, 15 years ago, there were like a lot of beer boom in the Denmark. And Denmark society have always been a beer culture. But it started to change a little bit like 15 years ago, where you could buy some wines. You started the dads of the family already saying, oh, now I know everything about wine. I have to bring the wine home. We have to have wine on special occasions. But in the last, say, 10 years, it's really been like every man's treasure. Like the students can now go and drink wine places like this, where you have the sommeliers to find the wine that is cheap but still really good, and you can go there and you can explore the world of wine. That's really been like every man's treasure now.
Yeah.
Everybody can drink wine and experience the fabulous world of wine.
Okay, so you feel like the Danes are getting more and more interested, probably.
Absolutely, and it's more available now.
Yeah.
It's like before, you didn't know anything about wine. It was a scary world. You didn't want to go there. But now it's like you can find wine everywhere. Even in supermarkets, you have really talented guys that can guide you about wines.
Yeah.
And in the wine shops, there are all sommeliers now. They know everything about the wines, and people ask questions about wines.
Yeah.
That's really
That's
good.
also
They
the
are,
most important.
yeah, they are interested in what is behind this.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very good. And how do you judge, or well, how do you think? What do you think about the wine environment in Aarhus in particular, like as a city? Are there many wine bars?
Since we opened like 1.5 years ago, there have been like a boom.
Yeah.
So now I think there is 5 or 6 different wine bars, maybe even more. But when we started, there were like 1 or 2, and then it's just been like people can see that people are getting more and more interested in wine. Then they want to explore that world. It's just perfect. The more the merrier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand, of course, from your point of view, it's also a competition. But on the other hand, it concurs to making people aware that wine exists and to make them interested to the world of wine.
Of course, and competition is always healthy.
Yeah,
it always
exactly.
keeps you at the sharpest point.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I think it's really good because from my point of view, I always try to educate people just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just as they think about what is in the glass, because there's some people who have made this wine for their living,
Yeah.
and cherish this and nurture it, and if you just drink it, it's not the same. So if we are more people doing that, educate people just a little bit about what is in the glass, then it's perfect for me.
So, where do you think the wine trend is going in Denmark? Which types of wines are the most popular, and which ones you think are growing right now, like for the future?
Yeah, it's always hard to say where it's going.
Yeah.
There's definitely been a trend this 5 years ago, it was like the big Shiraz, it was like the really heavy style wines. That's kind of the way down. And the more natural style of wines are definitely on the high right now. It's been a little later here in Aarhus than Copenhagen, but it doesn't matter. And the natural style of wines have really been a boom the last couple of years. I think it's on its high point now and will retreat. But what will be the next big thing? I think more light style wines, more honest wines. I think that wines that are not as anything else, like small grape varieties, old-fashioned wine styles, that kind of thing. I really think that will come right now.
Yeah, so probably with people that are starting to understand more about wine, they will also look for something less popular, less commercial.
Well, it's like art or music or anything. If you're a music fan, you would rather listen to some really hardcore rock or Bach instead of Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
And that's always the thing. You always want, the smaller you learn, the more you want to find the new things.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, and let's now talk about wine itself. Is there some specific country you like when building your wine list, or others you prefer to avoid, or is it just everything?
I have the thing that I always say I like honest wines. I like wines where you can taste where they're from, you can taste the mind of the guy who makes it. You have not tried to make it for the audience, you've tried to make it for the environment where it's from. So if you can do that in South Africa, I'm probably gonna like it. If you do that in Italy, certainly gonna like it. So I don't really have a country where I say, okay, that is where I'm at. Of course, I've been working in a French restaurant for 6 years, so I really have my heart there. That's the country I know most about. But I don't have anything where I say, okay, I won't ever go there. I try to build my wine list as honest for me as possible, because me, they're gonna sell it. So I don't have anything on the list I don't like. But I have to say, most of the wines that I drink myself is from Europe. If I have to say anything. But it's not like I don't like the other ones, it's just like, that's what I know the most about, it's what I'm into right now. I think it's a lot about trend as well.
Yeah, but it makes sense, of course. And so our blog is specifically about Italian wines. So how is your feeling about Italian wines?
Well, the Danish love Italian wines. Yeah, absolutely. I think I've traveled a lot in Italy, wine-wise as well, and I absolutely love the Piedmont region, for example. It's really it's a rich region as well, so they can make really honest wines. And so I've got areas, Friuli or something like that. Oh my God! Right now they are storming ahead. They are really doing something good and making more and more honest wine. And the Danish people absolutely love it with their skin fermented whites, the orange wines, so on. I just absolutely love it. We have a lot here, and it's we use it a lot.
Yeah. That's very good. And so if you had to choose one red and one white grape variety to save from a hypothetical apocalypse, say, which one would you choose? I know it's a hard question. if you had to choose one.
Oh, it's like choosing between your children.
Yeah, I know it's tough.
For the red, I would definitely do Pinot Noir.
Okay.
Pinot Noir is a grape variety that can do from one end to the other. You can make really heavy reds, not heavy with alcohol and color, but you can make some intense Pinot Noir. You can make some really light, fresh Pinot Noir. You can make champagne from Pinot Noir.
Yeah. You can make everything.
You can make anything from Pinot Noir. That's really good. And I think for the whites, oh geez, Louise, I think maybe I would do Riesling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you.
Yeah,
I also
Riesling.
have a passion for that.
I have a really thing for white Burgundy, but Riesling, I think if I couldn't drink anything else in the world, I would drink Riesling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Then you find me. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So, okay, now let's say if you had to choose one overrated wine and one underrated,
Okay. Yeah.
which would it
Overrated wine. I think I would do for the Danish culture. I would do the Amarone.
be? Yeah.
Because Amarone is just like there have been so many bad Amarone. I don't say everything is bad, but I just say it's so overpriced and it's so overdone. They just made a new wine law that says that everything have to be put into bottle in the area now, because there have been 150% more on the market that is actually grown in the Valpolicella. So that's a thing that I really think is overrated. Underrated, German Riesling. Yeah, I think so. It's like some of the cheapest wine you can get, but it's always the quality is just always really really good. Yeah, it doesn't. It's really a difficult thing to do because you don't know ever if it's sweet or if it's dry, and that's what we work a lot with the German Wine Institute. That we have to make it more clear if it's dry or if it's sweet. But you can really make some good purchases in German Riesling.
Very good. So, I admit I have a soft spot for oak-aged wines.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about that? Is it because I know many people feel like too much wood can cover the natural
Yeah.
taste of it?
Well, I think that as well. I think sometimes. Normally, I say I like the grapes. I don't like the wood, because I think the grape is the important thing in a wine, not the oak. But that too said, I really like when you can mature wine in wood, but it doesn't cover the taste. You can give it a little more body. You can give it a little more, but it's. Normally, I don't like the new oak in wines, not if it's too tasty.
Yeah.
But you can absolutely do some beautiful things with wood, and I don't want to take it away.
No, of course.
It's I really want to keep it there because it can really mature some wines that wouldn't have a place to be here.
Yeah, of course. As many things probably, when it's abused, it's definitely ruining everything.
Absolutely.
But sometimes it gives that touch.
Yeah, and I think that you can, a lot of the wines that are on the market right now, you can have never seen wood, but still taste like wood.
Yeah.
And you can put like flavors of wood into now, and it's just like strong.
Yeah.
You can, if you have a wine from 2015 that tastes like it's been on wood for 10 years, you know there's like drops of aroma in there, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, that's not a knowledge.
No, exactly.
Okay, so so you are a sommelier, as you mentioned. What do you think about wine education and about the fact that some people feel somehow intimidated by wine knowledge and they have trouble simply enjoying a glass of wine if they don't know enough about it?
No, I think it's a problem if you use it wrong. I think like the sommelier education is fabulous. It's been like in the restaurant business for many years. You don't have anything. You don't have any extra education you can do. Like when you are a nurse, you can do overbuildings all the time. You can get extra education. You couldn't do that in the waiter business. So that's really good, and you don't learn that much about wine in school. So it's really good that you can do a sommelier education as well. If it's the snobby thing about wine, huh? It's like if you have education, you can say to everybody, oh, you don't know shit. And if you ever have a sommelier that you feel talks down on you just because they don't know that much.
Yeah.
Because every sommelier that is really, really good, they know how hard it is to learn about wine.
Yeah.
It is really a world that is crazy and it's changing all the time. You always have to read, you always have to do stuff. So if they know their wine, they would never talk down to you because they know how hard it is to learn about it. Of course, they used a lot of years learning it, but still, you should always keep it calm. You should always say it's only wine. It's just something you drink for pleasure. Come on, guys. It's not like the end of the world.
Yeah, you're right about that. And what about wine food pairing? And how much does it matter to you? And do you like to follow the standard rules, let's say, or be a bit more creative?
Well, I think it's a thing about every sommelier that they absolutely love. The thing that you can take a product that a chef made and then make it even better with pairing the white wine for it. That's just like making it a painting or something. I think everybody loves it, and I really, if I like to do it classic or if I think I don't do everything classic. A lot of the time, I always like to have, even though if I do a wine tasting and stuff like that, you have to do something classic and then be something totally new, something totally crazy on one of them. But just make sure it works.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
because if you sometimes I see a lot of restaurants they do, especially I don't know, it's always with desserts, but they try to do something totally different. And the hardest thing in the world is to pairing desserts and dessert wines. And because it's the texture of the wine changes completely, they have a thinking about, okay, this is gonna work, and then they do it and they don't try it, it's just gonna fall through. So, but I don't think I'm too classic. I think I experiment more. So.
I mean, it's important. Sometimes it's important to be on the safe side. Sometimes then taste, try something new, but for sure taste it before you offer it to someone.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important to earn the trust of the people you have dining, because if you do 3-4 classic match or just really good matches, you can go and experiment a little bit, and then they trust you and say, okay, we have an open mind, we'll try it, let's see how it works.
Okay, so is there any film or documentary about wine you like in particular, or you would like to buy?
There is a documentary called Some. It's about the master sommeliers, and master sommeliers or master of wine is just crazy thing. It's just absolutely crazy. Some of these guys use 10 years of their life only by studying. They don't even get drunk by the wine.
No.
They spit everything out.
They just learn everything.
Yeah, exactly, and read books and draw maps. And yesterday I was talking to one of my colleagues, and he knows this guy from Vienna, and he said, okay, he tried 3 times to pass the master sommelier exam, and he couldn't pass it. And then he moved to Eastern Europe to learn the language there, so he can understand the material better when he was reading about Hungarian wines or something. And then he passed. No, I think some will give a really hardcore look at how hard it really is. I haven't seen it yet. It's so bad. I haven't seen it yet, but I think it would be. I heard that it's crazy good.
I've seen it, so
you can agree.
Yeah, okay. I agree with it. It's pretty good. And what about a book or more than one?
I think, my favorite book right now is The Grape Varieties of Janis Robinson. It's just crazy good, but it's like, if you're not a totally geek like I am, you wouldn't understand. It's too hard to understand. But I think, actually, Politikens Vinbog is actually really good for if you want to learn something about wine and you don't know anything. I used it a couple of times with friends and stuff like that. If you want to start, it's a good way because they don't go too much into details, but they tell a lot about it, and they use a language that you can so and so understand.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
Okay, very good. So we are almost at the end. We can conclude with like 4 fast choice questions where I'll ask you about 2 kinds of wine and you have to choose which one you prefer.
Okay.
Okay. So Bordeaux or Bourgogne?
Bourgogne.
I know about that, of course. Amarone or Barolo?
Barolo.
Okay. Riesling or Gewürztraminer?
Riesling, always.
Porto or Madeira?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think I'll go for Porto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. That was very interesting, and it was really a pleasure to talk to you. Now we learned many things, and yeah, it was important to have someone, an expert, let's say, to speak in our blog. And yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It was really a pleasure.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.